The People's Progressive Party, Civic / One Guyana government are getting exposed. They are getting exposed as some people that only care about one section of Guyana, a little 5 or 3% of Guyana. And you see, this has been going on for decades. One Guyana has always taken care of their own, and they've always governed for the business sector. But because you see, we are now the fastest growing economy with one of the highest gross domestic products earning per capita, and so much money is coming into this country, the selfishness, the one-sidedness, the deceitfulness of the People's Progressive Party Civic are being unmasked. Because if you go into certain communities, it is night and day. And I would argue that many of our brothers and sisters in Linden and in New Amsterdam and in Albay-Stong and Safio and all of these marginalized, forgotten communities, if you should take a trip into certain communities right in Guyana here, you will realize how far down the ladder the government has left you and how many years you have been neglected and robbed of your birthright and your quality of life in this country. And many of our brothers and sisters that would support the PPP, because PPP clearly are governing for themselves and for the rich people, you guys will experience that the PPP are developing the country, but that is just where you live. And if you guys take a trip into some of the same aforementioned communities, these marginalized communities, Linden, Alboystong, certain places in Berbice, New Amsterdam, and these places, Aichuni, you guys will see how some of your brothers and sisters are treated like animals. Some of the people's children are treated like animals. If you guys see some of the places where some of your brothers and sisters are laying their heads, it will make you bust into tears if you have 1 ounce of human decency and 1 ounce of humility. The People's Progressive Party Civic are being exposed, and they should bow their heads in eternal shame, because they are proven to be exactly what Eternity Enterprise have been saying they were: totalitarians, autocrats, despots who cares nothing about people once they cannot use you to forward their agenda. You see, because many Guyanese believe it has become culture. Our people, our Guyanese brothers and sisters, our ancestors, our grandparents would have went through a lot in this country. And now the tide is about to turn, and it seems like you guys are going to just sit back idle and go through the same struggle, because it has become culture for many of you. So you guys don't even know your worth. You guys believe it's normal. Educated, qualified, certified people, teachers, nurses, police, soldiers, phlebotomists, microscopists, people in trade, building mechanics, technicians that work in the private sector. You guys believe like this is just life. You guys have to struggle. But if you guys go into some of these People's Progressive Party civic strongholds, and if you guys go into some of these communities where these ministers live and you see the street, if you take a trip onto the entrance to enter onto that new Rondell Jilks Demerara Arbor Bridge, and you look on both sides, the left and the right, as you get onto that entrance, you're going to realize how far down the line you are, and how much your children are struggling because of your silence and your disunity and your misinformation. And you guys are going to realize that we are the chosen generation that has to fight for this change for our family, because it's going to become too late. The government continue to take loan for everything. Gas to energy, they took 500 million US dollar from the Exim Bank. For the Demerara Arbor Bridge, they took 150 and higher million US dollars from the Chinese. They borrowed money, more than $100 million from Saudi Arabia. These men are just borrowing money left, right, and center. And guess who's going to have to pay back for it? You and me. Because we are being sacrificed. Your children living a good quality of life, they're being sacrificed so that these men can fill their insatiable thirst for money and power. Look at the way these men live. They own 5 homes, 10 homes, big homes, big land, 15, 20 lands, and you can't even own one in your country. You can't even build a good 3-bedroom house so you can give your children a good social experience. And this government that continue to say that they are one Guyana and therefore developing Guyana continue to overlook this dysfunction. They should surely bow their heads in eternal shame, because the mask is slipping. I'm telling you guys, follow me on Facebook at Rondell Anthony Jilks. I'm going to be taking you guys live so you guys can see what we're saying. The government are cruel. They are manipulative. They are deceptive. They are pathological liars, most of these men. And if they cared, if they had 1 ounce of human decency, 1 ounce of humility, a little bit of empathy, they would not subject your children. They would know that when they struggle you, they are struggling your children. You see, when these men look out of their windows, most of them, when they sit on their balconies and they're looking out, they're not seeing what you're seeing, a pitch black community with rundown infrastructure, under-maintained public open spaces, under-maintained government reserves, poorly lit communities. They're not seeing this. This is why you see these men don't understand when the Guyanese people speaking. They've become far removed from the reality of what an average Guyanese go through. The whole community of Linden would have been neglected. I challenge any Lindener, and I wonder how can the Lindeners say that the PPP is helping Linden and they're developing Linden. We have no high-rise building in Linden. We have no noteworthy communities, no noteworthy building in Linden. The front line is like a back street rundown ghetto. The front line in Linden is like a backyard ghetto community in many places in this country. The front line in Linden. And you guys sit and you praise the government. Look how much roads they're building. Look at how they have you living. And it don't matter how much the government gives to you. I'm speaking about the affiliates and cohorts of One Guyana from these marginalized communities. You will never see through the lens these rich bureaucrats see through, who you continue to help to advance their agenda of oppressing, marginalizing, and punishing Guyanese. You will never see through the lens of these men. I've been around, and when I look at what these men see, these men are seeing Guyana looking like one of these islands. Take a trip to the new Rondell Jilks Demerara Harbor Bridge and go over it. And when you're there, look and really look and observe, and then come back to the community of Linden and ask yourself, what do you see? And you ask yourself, if you're not a part of the problem, you are not taking part and helping the people that are selling out our community in advancing the mission, in advancing their agenda. Many people in this country do not even know what they're supporting. How can you support a government that continue to enrich themselves and build up everything around them, but oppress far higher than 70% of your brothers and sisters through low salary? It's no secret, Guyana could never develop equitably, community by community, region by region, if this government does not pay better salaries. And their excuse for not wanting to pay better salaries is one of the most stupid excuses I've ever heard. If you pay the people fair, they wouldn't want to go to work. Never heard such an abomination. That is the biggest part of nonsense I ever heard in my life. But you see, ways in the dark is going to always come to light. And though they've been trying to hide it and try to praise and patronize us publicly while they manipulate the state's apparatus and make sure most of the wealth goes into them and their affiliates and cohorts' pocket, they would have been building up so much for themselves with a selfishness that now the wage gap is glaring. The interest gap is glaring. You could see clearly what the government is interested in and what they are not. And it could clearly show that a high percentage of Guyanese, the government don't care about you. Look at the way they left the Linden Soesdijk Highway. Pitch black, because they don't care about you. And the mask is starting to slip. And unless these men can find a way right now to actually invest into the most important resource in any country, human resource, this country cannot run without the hard-working Guyanese that work and man these ministries. Government of Guyana, this dysfunction has to stop. You guys can come out and look at half of your landing and look at what you're seeing, and then come to Linden. Go to many marginalized communities and see what y'all have those children sleeping through. See how you are making these children not even respect the parents' sacrifice, because no matter how hard the parents work, they can't provide a good, stable, comfortable homing environment for their children. And you guys will know exactly why I'm saying you guys should bow your heads in eternal shame, because the mask is being removed and it's starting to show now more than ever that the PPP are governing for themselves, their affiliates and cohorts. They fought for Guyana so they could take it for themselves. They fought during the 2019-2020 elections because they wanted the wealth for themselves. And you guys don't have to look far to see. Look outside of your house now and tell me if you see real change, or if you see a 3 or 5% benefiting while you and your children are subjected to a life that is close to indentureship. This is an Eternity Enterprise presentation. Y'all stay.